Hey there, Cheesemeisters, and welcome back to the Peach Pod After Dark. I am Jeff, and, well, someone's got to break the ice, and it might as well be me. I mean, I'm used to being a hostess. It's part of my husband's work, and it's always difficult when a group of friends meet together for the first time to get acquainted, so I'm perfectly prepared to start the ball rolling. I mean, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing here, or what we're doing here, or what this place is about, but I'm determined to enjoy myself, and I'm very intrigued, and oh my, this soup's delicious, isn't it? And joining me on the other end of the internet is my host.
I'm Leslie, and yes, I did it. I killed Yvette. I hated her so much. Flames on the side of my face, breathing, and that's all.
Heaving breaths. Yes, wonderful. Yeah, we're fucking leaning in. So, Cheesemeisters, this week we are discussing Clue, the 1985 board game come-to-life masterpiece, written and directed by Jonathan Lynn, starring, God, this cast, Tim Curry, Eileen Brennan, Madeline Kahn, Leslie Ann Warren, Michael McKeon, Martin Mull, Christopher Lloyd, Colleen Camp, and Lee Ving as Mr. Boddy with 2 Ds. We are watching, and that's not even to mention the chick from the Go-Go's and Howard Hessman, and who is the cook again? What else was she in?
She was in MASH.
Right, she's in MASH. Right, yeah. She's one of the nurses in MASH, I think.
Name is Kelly Nakahara.
Okay, let's see. Let us confirm.
No, she's also called Kelly on MASH.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, Kelly Nakahara, Mrs. Ho, the cook.
Oh.
Yeah, Jane Weedland from the Go-Go's is the singing telegram girl.
That was my backup for the intro. I am your singing telegram. Iconic.
So, yeah. So, guys, we've seen this movie before. The both of us. Separately and possibly together have seen this movie before. Did I introduce you to this?
You didn't, but
Okay, I didn't think so.
I have, those vague memories you have when you're like from childhood that like sort of fade in and fade out. We must have come over to your house, or maybe someone's basement. You and Michael were watching Clue.
100% accurate all the time.
And I know Ashley has said too that you all were always watching it. So
we loved it.
I'm pretty sure we were there and watching it. I introduced myself to it.
Okay.
I believe because there was one time where it must have become free on TBS or something, because it was on all the time.
Yeah.
And which we could save this question for later, but I do think it's worth asking now, just to think about what ending did you see first?
Oh, okay. All of them.
Okay, I didn't.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's a different. Okay, then we need to talk about that for sure when we get to that. So, here's how I saw this movie, and this is how I saw probably 100 movies when I was a kid. HBO had a free weekend, and we shoved cassette tapes in and recorded everything. Every time this happened, we recorded movies off of HBO. And HBO, Showtime, Movie Channel, because we didn't have any of the premium channels. Now I can't live without that shit. I have all of them. And so does everybody else. It's just the way the world works now. But in the 80s, when cable happened, like, you didn't, HBO, Showtime, Movie Channel, Cinemax, those you had to pay for. They were over the top. They weren't part of the standard package that you had that included your MTVs and your Nickelodeons and your VH1s and whatnot. And my parents were not paying for that shit. So we did not get that shit. And so, but they would do free weekends, couple, 3 times a year, trying to bring in new subscribers, I guess. That is not something I'm thinking about when I'm 8. But what I'm thinking is free HBO weekend. And so like we're recording anything that's rated PG, anything that's rated PG-13. Got a couple R things that we probably slid past the goalie there every now and again.
Nice.
But we had Clue from one of those HBO weekends on a VHS tape that we watched on repeat. So much so that I think we talked about this with music recently. Or I don't even know how recently, but I heard it when I was listening to one of our edits. But that thing where DJs like walk it up and try to hit the post, like so they'll talk over the opening part of the of the song. And so when you record it, like, and if you listen to that tape you recorded, this is old man shit, but this is what we used to do, kids. You would record a song off the radio on a cassette tape, and then you would just there. Now you have got your song, you got your mixtape that you've made off the radio. I'm listening to my Breaking My Stride right now, or whatever. But I had a version of Freedom 90 by George Michael that had a talk up on it, and so every time I heard that song, I heard that talk up, and it was just nonsense. WLR, whatever it was, you know. So Clue had the same thing here. Not them talking over the movie, but I had the intro to like that whoever the HBO intro lady was that weekend, saying this movie's coming up. And so it was and the one thing I remember is I think she mentioned something about Michael McKean being on Laverne and Shirley.
Oh yeah.
And then she said, and Howard Hessman, who is currently teaching kids to laugh as on Head of the Class.
Wow.
Because he was on a TV show called Head of the Class, which I'm sure you never even saw, but I watched quite a bit of.
But
yeah, it was a funny show. Also co-starred Robin Givens. At the time, she met, married, and divorced Mike Tyson. Like, there's a lot going on in the mid '80s. Yeah, and remember that Nickelodeon, that movie about the horrible Nickelodeon guy?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That guy's in Head of the Class. He's one of the kids.
That's right. Oh, yeah. No.
He's a big fat one who sits in the back of the class and says stuff to Arvin. So,
which we're allowed to call him that because he's awful. So
he's pretty bad. Yeah. But that was also probably on his character. It was probably just written as like big fat guy who sits in the back of the class.
For sure.
You know? Welcome to the 1980s and sitcoms. Arvin was the nerdy kid with the glasses. Robin Givens was hot. There was another girl. There was a cool kid who was also smart.
Listen,
crazy.
I had my high school director when announcing the cast, because this was a class production, and he was a sicko, I guess. Mm-hmm. But when he was announcing the cast for Brighton Beach Memoirs, he announced my character as the sickly 13-year-old. And I was like, cool. And I had that was coming off of the summer I was diagnosed with Crohn's.
Actually being sickly, yeah.
Being sickly. So, fingers to you.
It's possible. It's possible you got Don Knotts there a little bit. You might have got typecast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably thought it was going to fall over. So they were like, can we have her sitting? We'll just have her sitting. I don't...
Is there an opium den in this play? Because can she just sit in that and just fucking nod? That'd be okay.
That would have been great.
I did a stage production of a show that had an opium den in it.
Oh my God, what?
Mystery of Edwin Drood.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And my job was, I was on stage crew. And my job at that part was to hit the fog machine.
Nice.
And so, like, you know, my job was to, I can't believe we're talking about this, but it's okay. It's fine. I like this anyway. My job was like to set the fog machine up, and there's like a liquid you have to pour in it that has a very specific fog machine smell. If you've ever smelled it, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure how universal filling up a fog machine is, but if you've done it, you know what I'm talking about. And I would have to sit up in the catwalk above the stage, and below me were all of the girls getting ready to go on for that scene. And they're all dressed in black leotards. And I don't think the leggings were black. I think the leggings were like gray or something, but I'm right above them looking down on girls who were older than me and real fucking cute. Neither here nor there, except for that's my experience of the event. But I have headphones on, to hear my cue.
Yes.
And the connection was shit. Every performance, shit. And I can't tell when I'm supposed to do this. So I'm just up in there, every performance in the back. I'm fog now, fog now, fog now. And like the girls underneath me are looking up. It's like, would you shut up with the fog? Like, so, I was the fog now constantly. That's my memory of doing this show. Fog now. Anyway, Opium Den.
I almost wanted to add on a thing about my experience with the show and opium dens, but that's not what we're here for today, people.
It's not what we're here for, but
opium's any day.
This is our fucking charm right here. We're doing this, by the way, in conjunction with season 3, episode 13, Rebel with a Cause. Fucking 11 minutes into the show before I said that. That's got to be a record. Our spelling connection this week is Eileen Brennan. She was in an episode of The Love Boat.
Shocker.
And I'm pretty sure that if I looked a little bit further down, I'd see that other people also did a lot of Aaron spelling stuff in the 70s and 80s. So, but all it takes is one for it to count, and this shit counts. So I watched this movie on VHS tape about 1 million times. My brother and I loved it. And then move up to Chicago, start dating Laura. She and her sister grew up loving it. And so it was like a bonding moment.
Made it heaven.
That's right. And you know what's even more amazing? And I can say this because she's never going to listen to this show. My sister-in-law has the worst taste in movies. Oh my God, she likes garbage movies. But she liked this one. So it's a bit of a miracle.
For me, this was one of those that I enjoyed on my own. Because I think I learned maybe preteen years that I had a different sense of humor than my sister and my mom. But when you and I started doing this podcast, and we've referenced Clue maybe a couple times.
I would say every other episode.
Yeah. Ashley was like, "You like Clue?" And I went, "You like Clue?"
That's awesome.
My mom that I was watching it, she was like, "Oh, that's fun." And I was like,
Yeah. Like, I have no idea if my parents watched this movie or not. Like, they probably did, but we watched it on the TV in the basement, and we they never came down to the basement unless they were doing laundry or wanted to yell at us about something. So like the basement was like our territory. And so we watched this 1 million times. I assume they've seen it. But what's more important to me is that we introduced Liam to this when he was about 5.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And he loved it.
Oh. So
this is multi-generational film love, this movie. And so for me, that makes it kind of extra special, And then when Michael and Jocelyn got together, they came up here to visit, and she had never seen this, and we made her watch it. So we introduced Jocelyn to Clue as well. So, and she loved it. So
good test.
Yeah, this is just a movie that brings people together because there's nothing but fucking funny.
That's true.
If you haven't seen this movie, like, stop what you're doing and go watch it, and then come back. But this is based on the board game, and the board game. Board games are games you. I was trying to figure out how far back I had to go to explain. But it's got all the trappings of the Clue board game. It's got the colorful named characters. It's got the same weapons. It's got the same rooms in the house, and
they're even kind of in the same layout of the game.
They are, except, and this is, I sort of wanted to let's talk about the secret passageways when we get to what else next. What else time? Okay. Because I want to talk about this one specific secret passageway. But but it has the secret passageways. So it's got your study and your ballroom and your library and the kitchen or the ballroom. You could use the one in the no, you could use the one in the would you be kind enough to put in the library?
No.
So yeah, it has all of the rooms. It's got the revolver, the lead pipe, the rope, the wrench, all of it. And I don't know how you make that into a movie. Like obviously it's a mystery and you do a mystery, but how do you turn that into something compelling? And they fucking figured it out.
They really did. And I couldn't help but think about the Barbie movie also, because it's different. She's a toy, that's a game, but
right.
All things from childhood that we've played with. And it's really cool to see how people have taken these things and made a bigger story from it. But I think Clue seems like, I'm going to say it, a tougher undertaking than Barbie.
Yeah. And it's and what they figured out, because I was reading a little bit of an oral history that I found online from Entertainment Weekly from I don't even know how many years ago, but you mentioned it when you watched it this time. You texted me about how you didn't remember all the politics of it.
Yeah.
And that was the way they figured out how to do the movie. Like they set it in 1954 during the HUAC trials. Yeah, during McCarthyism and people going in front of and naming names. And you put these people in Washington and you give them all political secrets. Now there's a reason that they can be blackmailed and it matters.
And why they're all in the same room.
Right. And that's you get them all here to something with this blackmail they don't even know is happening to each other. They don't know each other, but they're all being blackmailed. And that makes perfect sense in 1954. You know? So you put it in a big country mansion in 1954, and then you get all of the characters. You hear that? We're using code names. Instead of it being their real names and the color they wear, you give them a code name. And now there's this level of secrecy, and all of that stuff is perfect for setting up a whodunit. And then it's just a screwball comedy for 90 minutes. It's just
fantastic.
It is. It's
as we watched it, this first of all, I think I texted you this. As I'm starting in the first 15 minutes, I went, "Oh, I remember this kind of scaring me a little, like giving me some movie vibes because the music sets it up really well." I mean, it's very eerie, and you know, him dealing with the dogs. You get subtle comedic bits that are trying to give you the hint that like this is going to be a joke, like with the whole, you know, the bell ringing and Mr. Green dumping something on people, like
he spills liquidy soup, like
people checking out Yvette's boobs, everyone by Icon,
myself included.
I mean, we'll get there. But I just thought it was so interesting how up until the first murder happens, you don't get the sense that this is going to be a screwball comedy. No,
there are jokes. Like there's the poop bit, and then there's like the sipping at the table, but there are other jokes. Like I prefer Kipling myself. The female of the species is more deadly than the male. Do you like Kipling, Miss Scarlett? Sure, I'll eat anything.
I know.
Like that's such a screwball comedy joke, you know. Sure, I'll eat anything. Yes. But they also lay and then there's also stuff like Professor Plum's area of study was working with megalomaniacs with delusions of grandeur, and he's like, "But you no longer practice anymore." I work at the United Nations, and he's like, "Yes, but your work has not changed."
I caught that
right?
this time. I thought that was
brilliant. And then he says, and you catch who he says he works for. He works for UNO, the United Nations organization, but for a branch of UNO, the WHO. He works for you know who.
Well, didn't your first husband disappear? Yes, well, he was an illusionist. Yes, but he never reappeared. Well, he wasn't a very good illusionist.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, the leg crossing bit after she mentions subtly that his had been cut off.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah, that's actually. I want to talk about Siskel and Ebert because I actually watched their review, but that joke is one of the ones that Siskel and Ebert both thought was really funny. The leg crossing.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's very funny. It's just it's such an obvious joke, but it's so well executed and timed, and so there's all these little jokes that you could miss, right?
Oh, yeah.
In the lead up to like in Act 1, but what you get that's so great is they give you every piece of the board game. They set it all up. There's all of the character names. Mr. Boddy brings in all of the gifts. Candlestick. What's this for? They've got all of the stuff, and you know that they've been in the dining room and they've been in the kitchen and now they're in the study. Like they've given you the whole board game. Expertly set up. It's really economical.
And then, furthermore, with the closing credits, they put them on cards.
Mm-hmm. And they flip them over like Vanna White and shit. Yeah. No, they lock in all the elements of the board game, and then they just proceed to give you this wacky story that makes perfect sense and is built so that whichever ending you got, it works. So, like from a mystery, it works, but it doesn't matter because it's just funny. Just joke after joke after it is. It's the joke density is so strong.
And the ensemble connection is so freaking strong. I mean, the way they keep going on moments that I don't know if we now know that they were like flubs in the moment, but like the one I did in the intro, she forgot a line, and they just kept going.
Well, I read that she improv'd that whole thing.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. I heard that she forgot her line, and so she improv'd that bit.
Yeah, the thing I read was that like she just wanted to try something because it like the line as written was something like, "Yes, I did it. I killed Yvette." Like that was it, and then she does the whole fucking thing. But it's the way that like. You can't do one line in this movie without then doing the follow-up line.
Yeah.
Because they just, just checking everything all right. Yep, 2 corpses, everything's fine. Like, and like can't make an omelet.
Why would anyone want to kill the cook? Dinner wasn't that.
Right. Or how many husbands have you had? Mine or other women's? Yours. 5. 5? Yes, just the 5. And you lure men to their death like a spider with flies. Well, flies are where men are most vulnerable. Right.
Is there anyone else in this house that we know of? No. Wait, so there
said no meaning yes.
No meaning yes. Or yes, yeah. That whole bit again.
Yeah, it's all, you can't make an omelet without breaking eggs, Peacock. Any cook will tell you that. But look what happened to the cook. Like, it's...
But your souls are in danger. Our lives are in danger, you beatnik.
Yeah. It's like, it's all interplay. The whole movie is just interplay. And it is hilariously funny. I love it so much. And then the thing that I think is kind of great about it, but it's the thing that kind of killed it in the theaters, is that there are 3 different endings.
Yes.
And when it was released in theaters, your movie theater would show clue A, clue B, or clue C. And that's the ending you got. It wasn't until it came out on VHS where they put all 3 endings together and gave you that's how it might have happened, but how about this? And here's what really happened. Like, they put it all together like that so you get the whole. And the three endings thing is so funny. But like, how do you even know which one you got? Like, is this the good one? Did I get the bad one? Like, so I think it confused audiences, and it pissed off Siskel and Ebert. They did not enjoy it.
See, and I don't get it, because even when I thought there was the one ending, I still really enjoyed it.
So which ending did you get?
I got the first one with Miss Scarlet.
1 + 2 + 2 + 1, or 1 + 1 + 2 + 1?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I never. So how did you only get one ending? Did you theater?
For some reason on PBS, they cut it. They cut the final two off. So it wasn't until I bought the movie on DVD, and I went, "What?" It was like crazy.
Wow.
I had no idea there were 2 extra endings.
You didn't know Mrs. Peacock was a man? My favorite part of that is that she pops his suspender right after that, and they added a boing to the audio. It's like, what? Why is there a boing? Yeah, I just always grew up with it as having had 3 endings. So it was a revelation to me that it was released in movie theaters like that. Because, like, in one way that's fun, in another way that's really stupid. Like,
yeah, they were trying something unique, and I don't think it really worked. But
yeah, and the Siskel and Ebert they both liked some of the jokes. They wished that it. I don't know. They were like, and then they just start running around like crazy. And I'm like, well, dummies, that's the point.
That is the point. You had a letter.
You had a letter. Get on with it. Yeah. So to make a long story short,
too late.
They didn't like that there were 3 endings, because they were like, here was their point, and I want to ask you what you think about this. Their point was, if you know that there are 3 different endings, then that means that the ending doesn't make any difference. And if you know that going in, it ruins the movie. Like, you know that this ending isn't even the real ending. It might be. It's one of 3 possible endings. And so they were like, it ruins it for the audience that there's 3 possible endings. And I thought, so let's talk about that first, because your face says bullshit. That's bullshit, right?
Yeah, because, okay, when I was watching it, because of the hundreds of times I have watched it before, I knew when and who to, or not necessarily who to look out for, but in certain scenes I would, okay, who's missing?
Right.
And other scenes. And again, I have done that before, but have not been successful. I also counted out how many times the revolver was used,
Right.
And I
right. No,
it's fine, because it all still works. It's just fun,
So to be clear, it's 1 for Mr. Boddy, 1 for the chandelier, 2 for the lounge door, and 1 for the singing telegram girl. It's 1 + 1 + 2 + 1. Yeah. Not 1 + 2 + 1 + 1. It's 1 + 1 + 2 + 1.
Shut
up. Yeah, I don't think it ruins this movie. I don't think it ruins the movie going experience to know that it could have been a number of different people, because that's the point of a whodunit, right? Like, you watch the whole movie trying to figure out who done it. That's why it's called that. I know. I just put that together just now. I know.
They put those words together.
They did. You know who. But I totally lost my train of thought. But it doesn't ruin anything, because you're just there for the ride of it. Yeah. Like, you're spending the whole movie trying to figure out if this person did it, that person did it. That's true whether there's 1 ending or 7.
Correct.
And because a good mystery should be explainable with any number of endings, because you've built all of the pieces and shown just enough, and you've hid these things, and that it could be any one of 6 people. When they go back to explain it, you see how it all makes sense. That's a well-constructed mystery. So that's real stupid. But the other part of it that I think is it's a deeper thing is, and not deeper meaning more philosophical, just a broader, it applies across the board. Do endings matter in mysteries at all?
Yes and no. I think they matter more because, so, of course, we've been watching Only Murders now.
Yeah.
And I know it's been fun to watch it and thinking about how other people must view mysteries and that they want to know and they want to know that they were right and that they knew it.
Sure.
And I have found Zen at last with, I really just want to see how it all comes together. I want to see how they hide it. I want to see how ultimately everyone has a hand in this person's demise. You know, it's really cool to see the puzzle pieces come together. And if it's done in an interesting way that makes sense, I think it, because like I'm thinking about And Then There Were None. Great book.
Yeah.
I do not remember why things happen the way that they do or the motive, but I do remember, I would say, the gist of the story and how it ends, and it's fascinating. I would read it again. You know, so I think they matter. I think if they matter to you, then that shows you whether or not it was good.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure I'm with you on the end. I understand what you're saying. Everything else, 100%.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who did it. It matters that it makes sense. And it matters that when it's explained at the end, that feels satisfying. That's really all. Like, you go, oh shit, I missed that, or they did say that. I remember monkey's brains, popular in Cantonese cuisine, not often to be found in Washington D.C. She did say that was her favorite recipe. Like, you remember, like, you go, oh, that makes sense, and so it's satisfying and it's just fine. It doesn't matter to me if Miss Scarlet is the killer or Mrs. Peacock is the killer or if everybody is the killer. I'll tell you which one I like later.
Okay.
But it, like, that doesn't matter. It just matters that it makes sense. And I think that's true of pretty much. I think the killer in Murder on the Orient Express matters. I think that ending matters. Almost any other mystery, I don't think it matters, as long as it makes sense, because you're not there. What's compelling isn't on a second view. You can get through 2 viewings maybe when you're just focused on the mystery of it. But what brings you back and what really engages you that whole time, that's why Knives Out is so great, is you're there to hang with these characters.
Yes.
You want to be in the rooms with these nut jobs. You know, the thing that's important is, what did the Nazi boy hear while he was masturbating in the bathroom? Like that movie's so funny. It's real super weird. It's built on the shoulders of Clue, 100%, Knives Out. But it's the hang.
Well, I think back to, you liked Hardy Boys and I like Nancy Drew, and I'm thinking the most exciting part of each book was when she would be tied up and getting the people to talk.
Yeah.
They're like finishing up whatever of their scheme, and they're like, oh yes, well, I stole the old clock from the old man, and then I was looking for his will and all this, but oh, Miss Drew, you won't get us this time. Like, that was always super compelling. Like, who's gonna show up this time to save her, George or Ned? Probably George, because Ned is a dud.
Fuck Ned. Yeah, it doesn't, like, the resolution has to feel satisfying. Like, that part where they're like explaining, you're like, oh, that's great. I don't know. I don't remember the whodunits in most of the things that I've seen. You watch it, you enjoy it, like having the mystery solved in front of you and seeing how it was all put together and seeing the puzzle revealed is great. But it doesn't matter to me, I think, most of the time which killer it is. So what you get in this is a movie that's 3 times better because it has 3 endings.
Exactly.
You get the Mrs. Scarlet conclusion, and then you get the how it really happened conclusion. And that makes the rewatch way more fun because you can watch for each. But the reason that you rewatch is not for that. It's because it's funny as fuck.
Yeah.
It's because there's so many jokes, and you like hanging out with these people and their ridiculousness all the way through this movie. It's great.
It's fantastic.
One other thing I think it's vital to talk about is the brilliance that is Tim Curry in Act 3 of this movie.
Oh my God, yeah.
Look, guys, Tim Curry is fucking awesome. Like, edict.
Yes.
Like, we're straight up edict. Tim Curry's fucking awesome.
Yes.
But what he pulls off in the last 20 minutes of this movie, where it's almost exclusively him talking and running back and forth and explaining the movie to us that we just watched.
Yeah.
In a way that is so much more fun than the movie we just watched, even though that was so much fun.
Yeah, it's wild.
I don't know. There are people who could pull that off. Steve Martin could pull that off. The physicality of it.
Kate could pull it off.
Yeah. I think Martin Short would be too frantic. Like, just a little. And Robin Williams would be too frantic.
But man, I would pay to see those. Like,
he could have definitely dialed up the zany, but bringing it down would be, I think, a challenge. I know it was a challenge. I watched Robin Williams my whole life.
Yeah.
It was real hard to bring that dude in. But Tim Curry is why this works. Mm-hmm. Like, if you don't have him zipping back and forth, and you'd had a letter, 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 like, then what do you got?
Everything that has happened that evening, like. And this is what's
all of it. Dong. I was in the had to stop
from screaming.
Yeah, I was in the hall. I know because I was there. He's brilliant, and the movie works on his back.
I hate that we keep coming up with guys who could do it, but I just realized someone. Guy, but Bill Hader, our cousin.
Oh, cousin Bill could fucking nail this shit. Yeah, he would definitely nail it.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm gonna stand by Kate McKinnon though, because I really think she could do it and kill it.
She would be really funny.
You know what? Here's someone else who could do it, and it would be just a cool, different take. But Melissa McCarthy, could definitely do the going back and forth, and she's so good at the physical comedy.
She really is. Yeah, she's very good at the physical comedy. Is she as verbally dexterous?
I don't know.
As Tim Curry, not as the other people we've named, but Tim Curry, he gets those. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on there.
I feel like she must be, because even though I haven't seen a lot of her movies, I have seen snippets of a lot of her character work. She does do a lot of different voices. Does she do the different licks? I haven't heard yet, but she's very good at, the one in Bridesmaids being kind of down here, and oh God, I don't know where that came from. And then Suki being up here and cute,
Yeah, I think more what I mean is the speed of it.
She's worked with Amy Sherman Palladino. She can do it. That's
true. It's very right. Yeah, so she probably could do it. She'd probably nail it. I don't know why I hung on that for her, but I think of her as physically manic, not verbally manic.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for.
I appreciate it.
My choices.
I'm with you. I like it. So yeah, God bless Tim Curry. All right. I feel like there might have been some intimacy in this movie.
Oh boy.
That's a hands-on asses and boobs and faces.
Okay, so let's go right to that first moment, hands on the ass, because it looked so awkward.
But it's supposed to.
It's supposed to, but like, I don't know. Okay, I think it's really funny, the low-key horniness played throughout.
Mm-hmm.
The way they're checking each other out, and I think it's interesting that, like, you know, I would say Miss Scarlet is the horniest one there, even though Professor Plum is constantly trying to get with people. But Miss Scarlet is just flirting the whole time, you know, like showing off what she's got. You know, and Yvette is too, but she's not trying to flirt with anyone as much. If anything, she's just there looking appealing as hell. And other people, I mean, but it's just dark and I'm frightened of the dark. Will anyone go with me? I will. No, thank you.
No, thank you. That's so funny. No, thank you. It's so funny.
So I think it was really funny how, like, sensuality and all that was played up in this. I thought, man, you go into this playing a character like Yvette, or there's a character similar to her in Noises Off who's running around in underwear the whole Brooke. And you got to be really okay with the fact that, like, okay, they wanted me because I'm curvaceous.
Sure. But also both of those characters, like, there's a lot of funny. Why did I lock the door? Why did you lock the door? Like, there's, you know.
It's so funny. And I think that, I'm sure some people don't like it, but I think it's actually pretty empowering that they're, like, in a time when we're still fighting for female comedians to be seen, or for women to be seen as funny at all, like, well, at least they were letting, because, you know, it used to be, well, if you're pretty, you probably can't be funny. There were some hot dates, and they were all fucking hilarious.
Yep.
And they got to be funny in their own way. Like, oh, what are you doing?
I lost my contact lens, like Brooke in stuff.
Yeah. But, you know, like, Yvette getting to be, you know, French and, like, I'm not going to say dumb. She wasn't dumb. She was just, I would say, a bit more innocent and beguiled. You know, getting to do the physical comedy, like when she sits down, flashes her underwear.
Yeah. Or when they try to walk up the stairs next to each other and they're pinned. Like,
yeah, there's so much great use of bodies in this, which I'm going all over the place, so bear with me.
It's okay.
Like, I couldn't help but think of intimacy and dead bodies. Because
sure, as one does.
People are getting carried around in this, and I'm guessing it was the actor, which I feel I
don't think it was the cook who went face down on the floor.
No.
I don't think that was her.
If they did that to Kelly, reach out. You might be available for compensation for Morgan and Morgan.
Yeah, that'd be rough.
But
you get paid.
But I mean, you know, they lean her over, and he's pushing
hand on her ass.
Again. You know, yeah, it's so interesting. I guess that speaks to maybe that character's discomfort. Except he's an adulterous doctor. He shouldn't be that uncomfortable with groping. If anything, they honestly should have played up the eek factor of him. You know,
right?
The eek factor. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not young, but like they really should have played that up more. Like you can still have, like, I hate to say it, you can still, you know, grope someone and it be funny. Like,
right.
At least.
Oh, don't I know it?
I don't know. I like. Oh my God, Jeff.
Who has two thumbs and goes good groping?
You're gonna get us canceled. That you know have already given you prior consent to groping, and then you listen to when they say, "I'm not in the mood today." Oh, okay.
Look, when I walk in the room and I start doing this, that means some groping's about to happen.
You know what I would have done, or what I would have had him do?
Yeah,
I would have had him, because I would have picked Slimy for his description. Like, have him slide his hand. Like, maybe he puts his hand on her waist and then slides down and goes for it. Instead, he just does this very awkward, like hand barely touching her, which if that's what they decided on or that's
Right.
what you felt comfortable with doing, cool.
Right.
But it did look a little stiffer than I feel like it should have for that character. Like,
Yeah.
maybe he's not a bad guy, but he's not a good guy, and he's certainly not a good doctor.
No.
Um,
He needs practice.
oh, but again, intimacy with dead bodies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have the he's squished up between them. You have how they're being carried. Because again, that's going to be super uncomfortable. Not,
Yeah.
I mean, physically more than anything. Like, yeah.
I mean, I think they dragged Mr. Boddy. Like,
well,
that's,
and this is the most important thing. Later on, when they're all making out with these bodies,
right.
This guy. Wait, no, she's on top of him. Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I could be like, I'm just going to put this person playing a dead person on top of me. No.
Yeah.
We know my fear of being crushed.
You would definitely get crushed.
I would have a panic attack. But how she's moving his arm is really funny. How Colonel Mustard and Mrs. Peacock are holding Kelly, the cook, up between and then the eyes.
And he pulls her eyes.
Well, and like Mrs. Peacock is doing these like hands around Colonel Mustard to like, which that's funny. So again, just things to consider and things that I find interesting. Oh, you would have to check in with these actors. Hey, you're dead in this scene.
Right.
How are you okay with being held up? Are you going to be comfortable being held up this way? Obviously you're dead in this, so you can't have any reaction whatsoever to this person. Your lips need to stay immobile.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found that
the
really
physicality is fun. Yeah, that is really funny. I like that. Anything else about the intimacy, the groping and the boobs and the whatnot?
The last thing I thought about as I was watching was how do we behave when we don't trust our partner? And I even mean just scene partner in this, because when they all get paired off, the way they are moving around the room with each other. I mean, it's always, I gotta be facing you.
I don't.
Or like we gotta be side by side. It's it leads to some really fun physical things happening, into interesting pictures of like who's open, who's not, how your breath is moving through your body, for something as fast paced as this, like, they had to be exhausted.
Yeah. There was a lot of running and then bumping into each other and running some more. And
the bump made me hurt because I'm thinking,
that was stunt people.
Oh,
yeah. Michael McKean said that was stunt people. Everything else was us, but that collision at the top of the stairs is stunt people. So rightfully so.
Because I wanted to go back and watch it, but it hurts me so much just watching.
Yeah.
And more from the women. Like, I think the guys have more like of a head and shoulder collision, but like, listen, it hurts bumping your bosom. I'm also coming off the show where I had to be more physical than I planned, so my body hurts more lately. I won't be doing my own stunts for a while.
Don't rush back into it. It's fine. It's fine. You don't, unless you get cast in this, and then just do it. Just do all of it. Whatever. I don't care. That's a good idea. I don't know how you don't. I was listening to Smartless recently, and Sean was talking about that. About the 8 shows a week and how like you have to get like doctors and physical therapists and because it's like you're doing the same minor thing every day. And he was like, I was watching the play, I can't remember who he was talking about, where the actor had to like bump into the couch with their left leg every performance.
Yep.
And he was like, I bet their leg hurts like hell. And they're just tapping it, but it's like you tap it every day in repetitive stress wound, and you're like, having to deal with it.
And hopefully they're being smart and they're remembering to hit the fleshy bits.
Right. Or put a pad there,
like, I mean, yeah, we had people in the show I just did getting vocal steroids because they they knew how to scream properly, but sometimes you get caught up in the moment, or
Right.
again, there was a lot of strain happening that
Yeah.
shouldn't have been happening. And again, I feel like anywhere else, well, I feel like unfortunately on Broadway is the only time you're going to get people going, we need you to take care of yourself.
Right.
And of course, every theater, every director I've worked with does say the typical like, hey, stay healthy, everyone. But like, do you mean that because you actually care and are going to
Right.
find the resources and take care of myself? Or are you just telling me that so you don't have to worry about finding,
Yeah.
and it can be both, but
It can be both.
let's be real.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Would you like me to actually do a needle drop? Because there's an actual needle drop in this movie.
That's
like
true.
they lower the needle onto a record. But the thing I wanted to talk about isn't actually the music in this movie, which is great. That version of Shaboom is like there's two versions of Shaboom. The one in the movie is by the White Kids. The other one is much better. Like you should. I can't remember the names of the bands. I think the one in the movie is by like the Chordettes or something. And then there's an earlier version. Yeah, there's an earlier version that's like a Motown version. It's a doo-wop group, like a black doo-wop group from the 50s, and then like these like the White Kid version. They choose the White Kid version for this movie. But the thing I wanted to talk about was Mr. Boddy with 2 D's. Something I did not know at the time, something that I probably learned 5 years ago, but that many people knew at the time. Do you know who he is? Do you know who Lee Ving is?
No.
He was in a punk rock band called Fear. Like hardcore punk rock. Like they were on they played Saturday Night Live.
Oh.
On Halloween 1981. Fear was the musical guest on Saturday Night Live, and I was just learning up about this because I didn't know about this until today. They wanted to get real punks for the audience so that you would see the performance like it really would be if you were in a punk club.
Oh wow.
So they brought in way too many real kids. Way too many real kids who are used to thrashing and slam dancing and jumping off the stage and all this shit. You cannot see this performance if you go back and watch that episode of SNL on Peacock. They've taken it out. Yeah, Fear was told they would never be allowed to play Saturday Night Live again. There was damage done. I think it was reported as being like hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage, and when you watch it, it's like I think they might have done $80 worth of damage. Like it wasn't much. It was rowdy.
Yeah.
There was New York sucks, like people shouting things, and kids slam dancing. Like it looked real, like aggressive.
Wow.
And then right as it cuts to black, there's a guy coming out on stage with a huge pumpkin. And he gets it about this far before it goes to black. So but the guy threw this pumpkin. And when they did the curtain call at the end, cast members are just holding chunks of pumpkin.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's Lee Ving in Fear on Saturday Night Live in 1981.
That's
wild. Yeah, I had no idea he was a musician, but yeah, he was a real punk rock dude. So not my scene. Although I did listen to one of the songs they played on Saturday Night Live on my phone here just a little bit ago. It's called "New York is Great If You Like Saxophones," and I think you'd appreciate it for the. It's a series of "New York is Great If You Like," And it's like, if you like roaches, or if you like drunks in your hallway, or if you whatever, it's like it's mostly negative stuff about New York, which I thought you would appreciate.
On the eve of my return.
Yeah, as you prepare to return.
Oh God,
So,
I need that. I need
yep,
greatly in my life.
I think you could do it. All right. What else time? What do you got for what else?
Did we talk about what our favorite ending is?
We did not. So what is yours?
Oh, the one where it's all of them.
Me too.
I like
except
everyone sucks.
Yeah, except 1 + 2 + 1 + 1 is like I love that too much. Yeah. And you're a bit late for that. Like that's in, communism is just a red herring. Like, like that's in a couple of them. There's just bits I love in all of them.
Yeah,
No,
you need them all.
Yeah.
But there's a reason the final one is the final one, and I think it's because it's clearly the best. I mean, it has the best zinger. Yeah, which I'm not saying yet.
Understood. So something I learned reading that oral history. Do you know who was originally cast to be Miss Scarlet?
No.
Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher is very funny. And she was supposed to be in this movie, and she had to go to rehab. She was like, I'm going to sleep at rehab, but I'll come and do the movie. And the studio found out, and the insurance company found out, and said, we're not doing that shit. So, but like, I
love Leslie Ann Warren.
I do too.
She was the first female Leslie I was aware of.
There you go.
In a world of a lot of male Leslies, it took me a while.
Leslie Nielsen's.
Leslies. I like the gender neutrality of my name now.
That's good.
And yeah, Leslie Ann Warren is great, but oh man, I would.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do to see. Well, one, I would have to die, and then project myself into whatever astral realm.
Right.
She's in.
And then you'd have to talk her into doing Clue. This seems like a lot of work. I'm not sure. Plus, you need a lot of other people to die too. And I'm not ready for that to happen. One other thing I learned is that it makes total sense, but because it was shot on a soundstage, they built this thing. It's the way that it is. Wow. They shot it in content. Yeah, they shot it in continuity. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. They went basically straight through.
Because I was thinking how much this would lend itself to a play version. I know there is a stage version of Clue for anyone who thinks they're going to pull one on me. No, I know it exists. I haven't read it because it's not good. I'm fairly certain it's not the same, and the audience gets to pick who did it, and that's garbage.
Wow.
I'm getting paid. You're not. You're not in my show.
That's how the mystery of Edwin Drood works.
Oh Lord. Okay. Well.
Yeah. Every night, we had all of. So do endings matter in mysteries? He died before he finished it, so no one knows who the killer was. So each night the audience votes, and there's a different killer every night.
Okay.
Which it makes it a fun show to do.
Accept that.
Yeah.
I need to familiarize myself with more. What were we just talking about?
Continuity.
Oh, but yes, I think for everyone's sake, I know that if I was in something like this, I would need it in continuity. I think it makes it easier on everyone involved, because this thing is cut so well. I think there's only one weird cut that Walter noticed as we were watching it, when the chandelier falls and we see Martin Mull's reaction to it.
Yeah.
He noticed something weird there, and I was like, it didn't bother me.
So you know why that was like that? Because I just read this too. I learned a lot of things in this oral history.
Standing around it and not the
no too much. No, way more fucked up than that. So one of the producers on the movie was Jonathan. What the fuck? Landis. John Landis, right?
Yeah.
Who had just done the Twilight Zone movie. And you're not familiar with this because I know I mentioned it to you once and you were like, I don't know what happened there. But there was an on-set accident involving a helicopter that killed 2 kids and decapitated an actor.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And he had just done that movie when he started working on Clue. So he was so safety conscious of how far away the chandelier was from Martin Mull so like it's a little too far away. And so they had to do some things, but it was 100% a safety concern because Jonathan Lynn was like, I couldn't imagine putting him through something like that again after what had just happened on Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
So yeah, super fucked up, right? Yeah.
People, if there are any aspiring directors, if any directors happen to ever listen to this and aren't getting this from the context clues we're already giving you, aim for safety.
Safety.
Like, I'm glad. I hate that he had to go through that. And I would like to think that he's not completely at fault for what happened with the helicopter, but my God.
I have no idea the context, but that is so fun. I mean, just, yeah.
That's, that's terrible. I mean,
yeah,
shit can happen. You can do everything right and shit still happens. But like, I'm really glad. Door thing.
Sorry. Hold on. Do it again. Hold on. Hold on. Do it again. That's real dumb. I like it. Mrs. Peacock was a man.
We're never going to have this sound bite again. Damn it. So, at least for the last 8 weeks,
you've hit it once.
So conscious, like I need to be mindful, and then I forget.
Yeah. Yep. I get it. Well, now that it's perfect.
Somewhere between ouch and boing. Wow. That's for my sister.
I like it. One other thing that you had mentioned earlier that I wanted to circle back to is the secret passages and the layout of the place and how so because of the secret passages, here's how I think the place is set up every time I'm watching this movie, right? It's come in the door, it's the study, it's the library, it's the billiard room, it's the kitchen. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because the secret passage goes from the kitchen to the study. Mm-hmm. Right? Over here on this side, you've got the lounge and the dining room. Mm-hmm. But the reality is there's the kitchen. The kitchen is over here. Because she opens up the window, she passes the food, and you see when they enter, but I've always thought the kitchen is over here, but the conservatory is over here. Okay. That means the secret passages have to go under the house?
That's what I was thinking. They must, but my God, the fact that they both fit in it standing.
Right.
That's crazy. That means the stairwell that Mrs. Peacock and Professor Plum go into is way deeper, which...
down to downstairs, sure.
Could be. That would be very interesting if they were like, why is this so far down?
Right. Yeah, but that secret passage, like, it has to go like this to work.
It does.
But based on the layout of the board game, too, they cross. So the real life of how that would work is I don't 100% understand it. But it doesn't matter because it's great.
It's a game, and it's great.
Yep. Is this anyone's defining role? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
The answer, it should almost be, whose defining role isn't this? You know what I mean? Like, it's Leslie Ann Warren's defining role.
Yeah. That or
100%. It's this. I didn't even know she was in Cinderella. It's I think it's Martin Mull's. I think it's Colonel Mustard.
Yes.
Madeline Kahn, it's a toss-up. I mean, she did a lot of great stuff, a lot of iconic stuff. So it may be Young Frankenstein for her, but
maybe, I don't know. I
or Blazing Saddles,
strong contender, because I hear them quoted more when people mention her.
Yeah.
For me, it is Michael McKean's defining role. Like, it's hard.
I mean,
it was hard for me to watch Better Call Saul for the he's so good. Although at the end of this movie, I went, we should have known he was going to be a 2-time son of a bitch. This movie.
Yeah, he's like, I think Michael McKean is, well, Chuck McGill, he's so fucking good. Yeah. But he's also Lenny from Lenny and Squiggy. And then this, and then all the Chris Guest movies.
Yes.
Like all the stuff he's Michael McKean is a national treasure. Like, he's so good. But I could see someone going, that's Mr. Green, you know? It's not Christopher Lloyd's defining role.
No, it is not.
Boddy. Yeah. Doc Brown, I think, is the answer there. But if Doc Brown never happens, he's Jim from Taxi.
Oh, okay.
Like, that character was iconic. So over the top crazy, really funny. Like, almost dangerous that he could get Don Knotts. You know, like, he could have got typecast as Jim. Mm-hmm. But he was able to do way more things, so it didn't happen. But Professor Plum isn't it. The Tim Curry question is, I think, almost, it's 100% dependent on when you met Tim Curry. You know,
I met him in Annie.
So he could be Rooster, you know?
I still pick this because he's so scary as Rooster. Like,
well, yeah.
He's so mean.
But if you're a little bit older and you first met him as Dr. Frankenfurter, it's real hard. It's real hard to top Frankie. Like, that's a huge part. And then he's fucking Pennywise the Clown. If you're a little bit younger and that's the first place you met him.
Always forget that.
Yeah, he's awesome. So, and I love each of those three things in different ways for different reasons. Like, Rocky Horror is terrible.
It is.
It's an actively bad movie.
The first 10 minutes are great.
Yeah. And I even like it up to when Eddie turns into dinner, it goes a little bit sideways for me. But it's not very good. But the music's good. The music's super fun. And A Midnight Showing, I highly recommend it. But he's great in that. And it is my favorite book. I've read that 1,000-page book twice.
Oh God.
It's great. I love it so much. And he's really creepy as Pennywise. So, like, and we've already discussed how many times I've seen this movie. So
yeah.
But yeah, this is defining roles all over the place for people.
Definitely for Eileen Brennan too, because
She was in Private Benjamin. That's the other thing I remember her from. She was really good in that. With Goldie Hawn.
I've never seen it.
It's funny. I don't remember. Like, I don't remember a lot of the details, but I remember it being funny. And I'm sure that the gender politics are a little bit fucked up. But I think also that's kind of the point. I think the gender politics being fucked up is kind of the point. But yeah, for me, she's Mrs. Peacock. Like, no two ways about it. She's Mrs. Peacock. Colleen Camp is Yvette. Like, she's a vet. Even in Wayne's World, she's a vet.
Yeah.
You know. So, all right. What is this the EST of for you?
This might be the horniest murder mystery.
Oh, okay, murder mystery. Because we already had the horniest movie of all time.
We did.
These two.
Well, and I also was thinking the most breasty of murder mysteries.
Oh, it's very bosomy.
You've got Yvette. Like, again, where can I find that costume? Just for fun. But like then Miss Scarlet's costume too. I mean, near the end when he's got her arm pinned behind her, I remember as a kid thinking like, she's about to pop out. Oh my god.
I know. Yeah.
And it's lovely. But yeah, it's a very breasty murder mystery.
It is. It very much is. For me, this is the best. It's just the absolute fucking best. Yeah. I love it. I love it so much. I watched it to do this recording. I didn't need to. I mean,
yeah, same. But I wanted to.
Me too. Like, this is how I felt. The only other time I've felt this way, even though I could do it. We could turn the mics off, turn them back on, and we could do another hour on the Big Lebowski right now. I wouldn't have to watch the movie.
Boy.
Same with Racing Arizona. But the Muppet movie, I was like, I don't need to watch this. I got this cold. But why would I deny myself the joy of watching the Muppet movie? You know? So I watched it. And that's how I felt about this. I was like, I don't need to watch this. I really don't. I zero need. But why would I not watch it? This movie's the best. So
that's me with
Love Clue.
Annie and Grease. Like, those movies are, you know, no matter what my feelings are about Grease now, like, it's still fun. It's just fun. And why would I deny myself a fun evening?
And go back and listen to our Grease episode. We loved it.
Yeah, we did.
We were very high on Grease. It was much less problematic than either one of us expected it to be.
Yeah, it's just the stage version that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, justice for Danny Zuko. That's where we landed.
Okay, I wouldn't go that far. No.
Hey, Danny Zuko tried way harder than Sandy, and you know it. We agreed on this.
Fine. But I'm not, listen, no justice for him. He's doing just fine.
You know, rocking and rolling and whatnot.
He's doing just fine.
He is. All right, so I think we did it. I think we have once again proven my theory that everything comes back to Aaron Spelling.
Even Clue.
This is the best theory ever, is it not?
It's
like,
great.
Has anyone ever had a better theory than this? This is so fun.
I don't know.
I mean, gravity, fuck off. Relativity. No, this is better. This is the best theory ever. So join us here next week, Cheesemeisters, when I think we might be watching Star Trek First Contact.
Walter's very excited.
We might be doing that. It's either that or we got to find something with David Arquette in it. You know.
Oh, your favorite, Been Kissed?
Oh, fuck that movie so hard. Yeah. Oh, no, we're not doing it.
No, we're not doing it.
All right. I'd watch Scream again, but you wouldn't. So yeah, I think we might be watching Star Trek First Contact next week, which is not where I thought we'd end up on the Wild Horses episode of 90210, but here we are. So, yeah, until then, Cheesemeisters.
Now I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife.
Shake, rattle, and roll. And shake, rattle, and roll.